Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day number 2 of DPL Season 6 group stages. It is, of course, MLPDota, joined by johnxfire. John, how the hell are you doing this afternoon?
I'm feeling really good, Mike. We had a great first day for DPL Season 6, and, we're starting the day right again with this matchup of LGD against IG.
Yeah, we are. We did see IGV yesterday. I believe they had a bit of trouble against eHome, if I remember correctly. However, IG, arguably, I mean, they are the better team in every sense. So I guess we'll see how they go against PSG.LGD. John, looking at the bans right now, they seem fairly standard for this new patch. Of course, the Dazzle IO being taken out. You see the Grimstroke as well. But overall, we really don't know what to expect, even though we are into day number 2.
Yeah, we really don't. I mean, none of these teams have played 2 series yet. This is LGD's second series, but IG's first, so we still have to find out how IG reacts to this new patch, what sort of strategies they intend to run. Maybe they go back and go with something comfy as we saw yesterday from IGV, but LGD, they pick up Doom, and I really don't blame them for that. We've seen what the Dooms can do, Mike, with a change to how he gains his lane sustain, now on Devour. He's a very hard hero to kill.
Yeah. In case you weren't watching yesterday, basically Doom at max level Devour gets 20 HP regen while the Devour is occurring. You can also stack both of those. You can get 2 of them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You can stack both, in which case you will have added 40 HP regen per second while that's going on. And basically, yeah, and I'm glad to see this hero too, John. The Tusk. He got that new ability. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Team Up or some crap. Tag Team. Right.
Yeah.
He got Tag Team. John, do you want to explain why it's so damn good?
It does a ridiculous amount of damage. It basically, for, allies attacking, gain a bonus, I believe, right, Mike? And
yeah,
it does a lot. There were a few videos showing what it does with, certain heroes that have a lot of summons, particularly something like a Broodmother and Tusk. That's a lot of damage. So you do have to watch out for that kind of strat coming out. I think it would benefit stuff like having a Necrobook hero on your team as well, or even someone that just has summons or, sort of dominate effect like an Enchantress, a Chen, a Lycan, or even a Beastmaster. So you do have to watch out now for LGD if IG decides to pick any of those heroes up.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as that, we do see the Bane coming out from IG. I love this pick as well, John. The Enfeeble got such a massive change now. So it's not so much like what it used to be where you just minus attack off somebody and it was okay during the laning stage, but more so the status resistance that it's taking off you. Durations of stuns and slows and things like that, they become so much better when you've got that Enfeeble maxed out on the Bane, John. It's going to be pretty ridiculous watching that, I'm sure. Even the Fiend's Grip, I was just watching it the other day, and he enfeebles Fiend's Grip, and it just feels like it's almost doubled the duration of the Fiend's Grip, assuming you can channel that long. It's pretty darn hilarious, to say the least. It really is.
Yeah, I do like this from IG. I mean, both of these heroes aren't really too strange to see, but both of them got changed in a big way, I have to say. So I want to see how IG decides to run these 2 heroes. Obviously, it's probably going to be, Tusk on the position 4, Bane as their pos 5, more than likely, and it's going to be exciting to see how they play around these reworked abilities. Again, they still have a lot of cores open for, to maximize that Tusk tag team if they wish to go that route. The Bane is a very stable position 5, and with the rework in Enfeeble, as you mentioned, you can hold someone down for much longer, which is, it's kind of silly. Even at level 1, 36% more, that could turn a gank in the early game. So I feel like it's going to be pretty strong. The emphasis is definitely not on slowing down the enemy core's farm just by annoying the heck out of them with less attack. But now it's really just forcing them, really setting up kills early in the game.
Yeah, I've got to say, John, I'm very shocked by this second pick from LGD. Like, it's... Why would you go the Phantom Lancer of all things? Like, it's still good, and I understand that the supports that IG have picked up aren't exactly great with the illusion clear, and they're not exactly fantastic at finding the real Phantom Lancer, but at the same time, it just feels like there's so many better carries right now to pick up. against IG to run, but they go for the PL.
It's a very safe choice, but I feel like, again, as you mentioned, it's more of a response to the two supports coming out because the Tusk and the Bane don't really do anything to the Phantom Lancer after laning phase. You know, in the laning phase, you can pretty much harass him out, do a lot of work on him. But once he gets his 6, maybe level 7, level 8, and he just kind of runs around doing a lot of damage and being sneaky with all illusions he spawns, it's going to be a harder time to really keep a lock on him. You don't really have any way of clearing out those illusions fast enough. Maybe the Tusk with shards would help you find out, but beyond that, it's going to be hard to really deal with this PL. They do have a lot of options though for IG. I think the Ember Spirit's definitely it's still in the pool. It might get banned out here for LGD in the next phase, but it's a possibility for IG if it does make it through the ban phase.
Yeah, I suppose so. Of course, there was some slight nerfs to PL. They did reduce the slow from his lance to, I think it was 34% rather than 40. And the illusions now, the juxtaposed illusions, they will take 650% damage rather than 600. So there have been some slight nerfs to the PL. Not too, obviously not enough to put him out of the game in any way. But again, I guess we're kind of sitting here going, let's see some new carries coming out rather than the standard ones. We do see, speaking of carries, Slark getting banned out, and the final ban from IG now, and we'll get to see where they go from here. But basically, what I'm trying to say, John, we want to see the new heroes. We're tired of these damn PLs. We've had enough.
I don't disagree with you, Mike. PL was pretty popular in the last patch. You'd see him every other game, of course. Just a very stable sort of core. We know what he brings to the table. We know what PL can do. So, you know, it's not too exciting. I mean, you can still make a lot of plays with a PL, of course, but it's not fresh. We saw this yesterday from IGV. I have to say they went back to the IO gyrocopter, and you know, you kind of know what's going to come out from that combination. Granted, LGD's draft is a bit wider open. I mean, they just really locked into their safe laner and probably their off laner, but they can still play around that opening quite well. It's not as locked in as a gyro IO, but again, it's still kind of clear cut what the PL wants to do.
Yeah. IG, they will get rid of the Pugna last. Now, third pick for them. Of course, again, we haven't seen IG play quite yet. This is only the second day, of course, of the group stages. We saw PSG.LGD. They pulled off their 2-0. In fact, I can't remember who was against, but they did it quite convincingly. And I'll just bring up the details now, but of course it is PSG.LGD. It's kind of to be expected that they do that. And the team they did do it against was Asta. We'll see if they can continue their nice little start in day number 2. The third pick, IG, they will dive into their reserve time a bit further. Surprisingly, both teams as well, they have used a lot of reserve time very early on for these ban-outs rather than the picks.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what LGD's been doing with their draft. Sure, they had first pick on that Doom, but they've been reacting to the picks so far. Like, they reacted to the Tusk Bane duo with the Phantom Lancer. Now IG reacts to the Phantom Lancer with the Leshrac, who can kind of clear him out early on and has pretty good setup from the Bane. So I feel like this Leshrac pick will be potent, can push towers down fairly fast as well. And with the emphasis on coming online early to mid game, Leshrac does have a really nice power spike in that area, Mike.
Yeah. I definitely don't mind this pick from IG. I do believe we saw a lot of Leshrac coming out of Emo on IG back in the Asia Pro League that we were casting, John. It was pretty darn good. I'm not going to lie. He was playing a pretty nice Leshrac. Well, we'll see what he can pull off against LGD. And speaking of LGD, 20 seconds left on their reserve time now for this third pickup, and they are taking a lot of time, which is rather unusual for LGD. Usually they're quite quick with these pickups and banouts, but well, IG, perhaps a team they're slightly worried about. They'll go for the Shadow Shaman. And what's interesting about this hero, John, is we assume it's going to be a support Shaman, but yesterday we did see the mid Shaman, which I believe was played by LGD, so I don't know what to really expect here.
It's going to be interesting to see. Again, I feel like the Shaman is pretty decent as a flex pick. It does so much work if you get farm on it early on. it does quite well. And Mike, we're seeing the Omni Knight come out now.
Yeah, a weird one. What were the? Was there any buffs to Omni Knight? I'm just
I
bringing
think
up
he got changed a bit.
I'm bringing up the patch notes now just to see what exactly happened with it. There's just too damn much to remember with this patch.
10 seconds remaining.
Alright, so purification, you can heal spell immune units. Fair enough.
5
They
seconds
replaced the
remaining.
repel with the heavenly grace.
Invictus Gaming's turn.
And John, I mean, before I go on about Omni Knight, we were literally
Ah.
talking about the OD before the
Yep.
game started. You literally said, I would like to see the OD because we have no idea if it's actually good or bad. But do you want to explain? You said, I believe, that you think it's good in the early game, in the laning stage, but you think it's not very
10
good in the late game.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, so with a rework to OD, his Essence Aura is now
5
gone, right?
seconds remaining.
So Outworld Devourer now relies on a toggle of sorts, a self-buff, basically, called Equilibrium. You turn it on, all the spell damage you do within a 7-second duration will restore your mana, and slows the enemies for 1.75 seconds. So in your laning phase, you just cast Imprisonment, wait for it to almost pop open, then turn on your Equilibrium, you regen your mana in lane. It's pretty good for that. But in terms of raw damage in the late game, you're not going to be you have to be much more careful with when you use your when you pop this thing. You probably want to pop it when you're halfway down your mana, maybe even less if you're feeling confident. And if you're feeling confident and you can do a lot of damage, you turn it on as you lose mana. Maybe when you have 2/5 mana left, that's when you pop it on in big team fight, drop your ult, or just get a couple of right clicks and regen back up. But he does lack a bit of that sustain for just raw right clicks now in the late game. The change to Omni Knight is interesting. He does provide status resist himself, so he buffs up his allies with status resist, and he can heal through spell immunity now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. He does provide a lot of HP regen as well with that basically reworked, renamed repel. What's it called? Heavenly Grace.
Yeah, it's a strong dispel as well. So it actually seems sort of better than repel in a weird way, like in this patch I'm saying. But I guess we're gonna see it for the first time, so we're gonna find out how good it really is.
I think it's really good against the Shadow Shaman. You can dispel the Hex, which is back to being dispellable. So the strong dispel will take off that Hex from Shadow Shaman. That's his instant stun. So if he tries to jump someone start out with a okay.
Yeah, you know what? Forget about the Omni Knight, John. It's funny. The reason why we're laughing, ladies and gentlemen, is because John wanted to see the OD. I wanted to see the Earth Spirit. Well, they're both out now, so we'll both get to see exactly how these two heroes pan out in the patch. Because we were questioning a lot how good these heroes were going to be. Some people think Earth Spirit got buffed. Some people think it's a slight nerf with the change to the Boulder Smash being a slow rather than a stun, but that is a 4-second slow we're talking about. So I guess we're going to wait and see. I do love the fact as well, John, may I mention that this patch means that we're finally out of the 2-1-2 meta, which really does put you to sleep, it seems, when you're watching the games. So at the very least, you usually see the 3-1-1. Earth Spirit will probably just go roaming around, doing Earth Spirit things like he used to. And the last pickup from IG, we do see the Lycan coming out, which it's interesting. I don't want to say it's good, but it's interesting.
I think with the Tusk, it's going to be pretty darn good, Mike. Again, you turn on that tag team, your Wolves are going to be doing an additional 100 damage on max level.
Yeah.
So that is pretty potent. And, Lycan builds Necrobooks, Lycan builds a Dominator. If you get to that point in the game, you get jumped by the Tusk, Lycan's right nearby, you are just going to melt. Yeah. I don't think even Doom can hold true that, Mike.
Well, we're going to find out how it goes. It should be a fun one at the very least. PSG.LGD, Invictus Gaming. Let's see how this one turns out. I do wish they changed this draft screen to end a bit faster, I'll be honest, John. It does last a bit too damn long, but...
Oh. I do want to get into the game. I mean, I'm really excited, Mike. We were just talking about the OD and the Earth Spirit. Yeah. and they get picked up both on LGD. They're definitely trying these heroes out just to see how viable it is, how the changes affect it, see if their own theory crafting holds up. But IG is, they're not exactly playing safe fighter. I mean, the Tusk got reworked, Bane got reworked, so the way you play these heroes are definitely changed. Omni Knight with, you know, Heavenly Grace now instead of Repel. The emphasis is a bit more. It's a bit different. The Lycan is probably the most stable thing to come out from IG, but I think in conjunction with that Tusk, it's going to be interesting. The push potential from IG is really strong. Again, with the Lycan and the Leshrac, you're going to be able to push down quite fast. But I feel like as you approach a certain point in the later part of the game, if you don't shut down LGD, it could be a bit worrying. But naturally, I feel like IG's draft just goes online in that early to mid game.
Prepare for
Yeah.
battle.
Well, we're going to find out. Looks like Arme on that PL will actually be going up to the top lane. They will be putting what seems like Chalice on the Doom. They're going to put him in the safe lane as that Doom. So it looks like it might be an aggressive tri-lane being run, potentially. Always good as well to see FY back on the Earth Spirit. Though he is making his way down bot as well. So they may be running the 2-1-2. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, Doodle, he will be there in the safe lane. Lycan, Ollie will be there to help out. The Emo Leshrac up against the OD being played. Well, actually, you mentioned his name yesterday, but it's in Chinese.
No, I believe this is Somnus, Mike.
Oh, that is true. Actually, we were thinking about it on the team. That is Somnus.
You're-
Excuse me.
To battle.
It's all right.
Somnus, maybe. It's like, which one does he prefer? We don't even know. We'll call him Somnus. Dogfights is there as well. On the Tusk, they are making their way down bot. Looks like they are going to try and have an engagement down at that bot bounty rune. FY on that high ground. We'll be able to spot them out surely. We'll see.
The battle begins.
LGD seemingly pretty confident with giving those 3 bounty runes away. So IG get a very nice little start for themselves. LGD, again, they just seemed like they didn't really care. And we saw this from eHome as well, John. Like, they didn't really seem to care about the bounty runes as much. They just let 3 go away at the start of the game every single time. And, well, it worked out in their favor. So I guess it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get more bounty runes, but I think the emphasis is definitely on securing your lane start anyway. So if you're gonna sacrifice a good block, if you're gonna sacrifice a bit too much regen for a trade, you'd probably best not go for that rune.
Yeah. Well, the tri-lane will be up at top. Ollie is the only one there currently. They have gone for a lane switch, and well, Doodle, he's making his way down bot. FY actually misses the roll, and so he won't get that stun up onto Ollie. Of course, Doodle, again, he is down at the bot lane up against Chalice. Dogfights will be there joining him on the Tusk. And last, he made his way back up top on that Omni Knight. So it looks like they really didn't want to have that Lycan up against the PL, but rather last, who'll be able to sustain himself pretty easily, I'm sure, against the Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, he definitely should be able to do so. It should be fairly passive coming out from IG, I feel. They have a lot of sustain, but I think it's definitely on LGD who want to get offensive. Again, they have that Earth Spirit who can roam really well. They have a Shadow Shaman who has a good amount of damage and really good lockdown. So it's on LGD to really try to find something from these lanes, whereas IG really just wants to survive and find as much farm as they can, it looks like.
FY. Harassing Ollie a bit. Just trying to screw around with that pool. Last will join him though. Purification is there. FY actually getting pretty low. Now the Nightmare comes out already. This might be a kill. FY turns around for the Rolling Boulder, but he will end up losing his life to Ollie very early on. X-Nova now just trying to make a run for it. Last doesn't look like he's interested whatsoever. And X-Nova, he does hit like an absolute truck on that Shadow Shaman. They'll leave him alone, but nice little start for IG. I really wasn't expecting the first blood to go that early on FY. Though bot lane, Doodle, he misses the roll again, unfortunately, in FY. Well, it's not the greatest start for an Earth Spirit, that's for sure.
Definitely not what you want to see from an Earth Spirit. No real success in pressuring any lane just yet. He is still level 1, and it is a bit of a change in his toolkit anyway, so I wouldn't blame FY. I'm not sure what his Rolling Boulders would have achieved in the end, but it's still a bit of a shame. He does need a bit more XP.
Well, we're looking at that tag team right now. The shards was nice, but FY, of course, he can just roll out of there. Perhaps they could have maybe gone for Chalice, but then you've got to be worried about that passive HP regen. So FY, he cops a lot of damage. I mean, you saw that tag team in conjunction with those wolves and the Lycan itself. It's a hell of a lot of damage.
It definitely is. I think you have to consider the fact that the dire creeps were in that shard as well, so they were also getting bonus damage onto FY, and it really is painful early on. You just trap someone under your creep wave, turn that on, it's going to be painful.
It lasts for 5 seconds as well. Level 1, 25 bonus damage. You pretty much have a 50% uptime on that as well. It's only a 10.5 second cooldown. It's very interesting indeed. And in the pubs especially, like, these tasks have been ruining pubs recently. Ever since this patch came out. So, dogfights, we'll see when he chooses to get a little bit more aggressive with that. Look, if he goes after FY, it's probably not going to mean a kill. Rather, you'd probably want to go after Chalice early on, before he gets too many levels in Devour. For the moment. Let's trade farm again. Very, very passive play, and though Chalice comes in with the Infernal Blade, but no initiation will be there from dogfights. Now mid lane as well. Somnus, of course, on that OD, Emo on that Leshrac. Seems to be going pretty evenly. I mean, Emo's got one more last hit. That being said, though, Somnus has got a lot more deniers than Emo, so pretty much they're just trading farm right now. Neither's really winning this out.
I think that is to be expected in this lane. It's not too active from both sides. You can't really bully one or the other too much, although the supports are here.
Definitely here. It's just FY again. He's level 3 as the Earth Spirit now. It's just a question of what he can do with this hero. This is the first time we're seeing it, so we don't really know what to expect. Well, Ollie makes his way top lane. X-Nova has got the shackles, just wanted the bounty rune, and he will find it. But he may lose his life for this. Last is there now. He will go for the TP play. It is going to be enough, though, from Last. But Last right click was just enough damage. Just barely. And Ollie will end up going and getting that the bounty rune from the opposing end anyway. So I guess in the end, the side of IG, again, coming out on top and not really losing out at all.
Definitely so. I think, you know, I'm looking at bot lane right now, Mike, and Chalice was diving that tier 1 fairly deep. He went for a different skill build. He went 2-0-3, so just 2 levels in Devour is pretty much enough for him to start diving those tier 1s.
It's kind of ridiculous watching it, honestly. So much HP regen mid lane, though. They are going onto the OD, and it looks like Somnus will end up losing his life, though. Can they find the trade? Oh, nice Nightmare dodge. My goodness. X-Nova now going to end up losing his own life here, but did you see that Nightmare dodge?
Oh, yeah.
The roll went right through him.
Definitely on point with that, and a really nice counter initiation, I guess, from IG. It looked like LGD was trying to get the offensive there, but just didn't work out.
Yeah, and IG already, I mean, they've really showed up to play. Like, we are still 6 minutes in, but this is LGD we're talking about. Like, you don't expect them to be behind by 4 kills already at the 6-minute mark. Now they've smoked up as well. We'll see where IG plans to go, but it looks like it'll be the mid lane. Somnus again is going to be the target. If they can land a stun or a Nightmare, I mean, dogfights with that tag team, it's going to be more than enough, although they have a snowball now as well. Dogfight's just creeping his way in now. That he will show Shards was not on point, and FY, he comes in from behind, but what can he really do here? He kicks Emo back, but it's not really going to do much, and FY, I think he's just dead here. There will be the Astral Imprisonment on Emo, but it's not really going to do too much for the sake of helping out FY, and now Somnus is also dead. They will even chase up X-Nova, who try to help, but with that tag team slow. Another 3 heroes going down in the mid lane. LGD, I mean, they're experimenting with this draft, but it's really not looking too good right now.
It's definitely not working in their favor, 0-7, and they just keep tossing these heroes down mid to try to help Somnus out. He had a pretty okay start in lane, but once these ganks have been coming in, it's just been really hard for LGD to respond. I think that just comes down to how much simpler and easier it is to execute IG support duo, along with the fact that they don't really rely too much on like very big skill shots. You know, you really rely on FY here to land what he needs.
Well, he does end up landing the roll as well as the slow with the boulder smash, so They will end up getting a nice little pick off onto Ollie, and Somnus will pick that one up for himself. Bot lane now, though. Chalice is in massive, massive trouble. Arme comes in to try and help out, but he's just a PL, and it's way too early on. He will doppel, but he's pretty much dead right now. Emo's Pulse Nova will just clear those illusions, and, well, it's a 1-9 now with a 2k net worth lead to the side of IG. With that Doodle as well on that Lycan, starting to push that bot tier 1 tower. And of course, we can't forget, John, that these Lycans, they push pretty darn fast, so if they get a good start into the game, it's pretty hard to slow them down. But hold that thought for a second, John. Mid lane, Ollie, gonna get ganked up. Somnus, can he deal the damage? Yes, he can. He'll drop the sanities for this, so Dogfights is there. He really wants that kill in the OD again. Emo coming in as well. Astral is there just in time, though Somnus still copying a lot of damage from that Pulse Nova. Nice roll in from FY. Shards will not connect properly. And with that, they will find, at the very least, a nice little support pick-off again, but you've still got to be pretty concerned if you're on the side of LGD.
Definitely so. It's still 2-9. They are behind by about 2k net worth, and Doodle on this Lycan's definitely on the line now, Mike. He has his Helm of the Dominator. We're not even at 10 minutes yet. He's taking that tier 1 down bot. He's going to start invading the jungle, finding the farm he can, and just be, a complete menace to LGD, whereas on LGD side, comparing their core, Ame on his PL, really not doing too well just yet. Has 2 Wraith Bands, which is what you kind of want to see, and the Power Treads, but at this point in the game, that's not going to be as threatening as a Lycan just naturally is.
Yeah. And top lane as well. I mean, I don't know if you caught that, John, but Chalice was there with X-Nova. They had to go into the Omni Knight. They committed the Doom for it, and then Ollie just came along, put him in the Nightmare, and just denied him. But they just kind of gave up on the kill. They couldn't get the final right click to actually find the, well, get the gold for it anyway, the golden XP. Doodle gonna be rolled on FY. Shards is there as well. It won't really help out. Doodle still making a run for it. Arme, though, trying to dish out the damage. Astro Imprisonment, it is there just in time. They should be able to grab this Lycan at this point. He is completely surrounded. He will end up going down. He didn't really have mana for the wolf form, even if he wanted to anyway. So a 3-9 now. The Lost does rotate to the mid lane, starts pushing that out. IG certainly still remaining in the lead.
Yeah, again, still 3-9 right now for IG. They do lose their Lycan. Doodle dying there, probably not the best thing to have. Probably just want him to be a bit safer. He is farming that jungle to try to buy space around the map, though.
They'll lose their mid-tier 1 tower on the side of LGD. Emo was there with Dogfights. In the Omni Knight, of course. Chalice now top lane, trying to do a bit of pushing himself, but well, Doom, he's not one of the fastest pushers in the world. He'll just sit there, throw a few right clicks out there with the siege creep. The Last will rejoin that top lane. Make sure he can't continue to do so, although X-Nova and FY now creeping along through that tree line. Even if they want to go for last, it's not the easiest pick-off, especially without that Doom, but they will get started. The Silent Slow is there, though. The Nightmare again, helping out. The Hex is there as well. Shackle's coming in. It's taking a hell of a lot to kill off Last, and he's still not dead. Purification comes in, and they'll go after the Doom as well. Chalice is dead, and now FY just needs to get the hell out of there. Though Dogfights, he has a snowball. He has a tag team. FY, he does kick him back, but it looks like FY is probably going to die, although the stun does not connect. The Nightmare was there anyway. Triple kill going to Emo now, 11 minutes into the game, and I mean, if you thought the Doom was hard, apparently the Omni Knight's even harder to kill in this patch.
It does look like that, Mike. I think that status resist is really strong, and the fact that it gives natural regen as well, so it's pretty hard to burst him down. He's gonna regen himself with Purification. He's gonna have some passive HP regen boost as well, as long as he has Heavenly Grace up. Not the easiest target to go for now as well.
Certainly not the case, no. I'm looking over to Somnus right now as well in that OD. Like, he's doing a somewhat decent job of catching up in terms of net worth, but I mean, if you struggle in the laning phase, we still don't know how strong OD becomes in the mid to late game. IG. Looks like they had a slight pause. We'll be back into it though in PSG.LGD. They will go for a smoke through that bot jungle. Not really sure what the plan here is though. Nobody is around. Perhaps they're just hoping that they can maybe bait with Arme. The top lane, X-Nova, gets caught out, will end up falling, and or LGD. Now they're going to keep going up through the jungle, looking for that Lycan. Though the TP, it will be there in time, and Doodle is just out of there. And so with that, this smoke rotation completely wasted. They may be able to get a tier 1 tower out of this, though. They will try at the bot lane. Last is there. They are going to try and make the chase, but he does have that Heavenly Grace up. And again, that status resist, yeah, it doesn't last very long when you've got it available on top of you. And well, they'll get the tier 1 tower anyway. So they are going to lose a tier 1 of their own at the top lane. So basically an even trade. Still, though, it feels like it does favor IG to trade evenly like this.
It definitely does favor IG again. They want to come in line earlier, they want to push their advantage earlier, they definitely have been. They are stronger in this point of the game. It takes a while for the OD to really become a powerhouse, and that PL as well. So I feel like as long as they keep doing this, as long as they keep trading evenly or finding pickoffs here and there, IG is definitely maximizing their draft.
I'm looking at Arme right now. He's just trying to get that Diffusal Blade up on that PL. Not going to be bad timing either. But it feels like he's just going to need more than that to actually be able to, you know, get online and get some things going for his team. Of course, with this draft from IG, we haven't really mentioned, but they do have a timing. Like, they definitely don't want to go late game up against a PL and an OD for that matter. Even the Doom for that matter as well. But as it stands right now, the timings are perfectly fine for them. The top tier 1 tower, John, is being pushed in. Dogfights will be there. The rest of his team is there as well, but it looks like they're probably not going to be interested. At the very least, the Serpent Ward's now committed, and they'll be able to find that tower, though. Nice rolling from FY. There's the Fiend's Grip as well, straight onto that the Earth Spirit. Now Guardian Angel comes in as well. FY disappears. Doodle, he goes in. X-Nova will be the target, and he grabs him as well. Sanity's Eclipse is there, though, and Dogfights pretty much gets taken out. Ollie just trying to make a run for it last. Still standing there fighting. It's a lot of damage coming out from those Arcane Orbs. And it looks like he should just be dead here, and last will be. FY actually buying back as well. That's because bot lane, they found an emo, and they will end up binding him. So some very, very nice pickoffs coming out from LGD. Not only that, they got that tier 1 tower, and they're going to be able to apply pressure to the tier 2 top tower now.
Yeah, that definitely helps them out, give them a good injection of gold. I believe that was a 1.5k gold swing going the way of LGD. Nice kill going the way of Ame, so he gets to, you know, finish up his core items, build towards bigger items now as well. Somnus has been on quite the spree. He's going to finish up his, I believe that's going to be Kaya Yasha. So that's going to be interesting to see coming out from him. And it should be quite the game. I mean, IG, we're pushing their early advantage, but if they give out a couple more team fights like that, I mean, their net worth lead is pretty much it's negligible now, less than 1k. And that's while maintaining a 10 kill lead, Mike. Not brightest pictures in the world for IG. They really have to play around when they want to push with Lycan, and they have to have their Leshrac around with him for the damage.
Well, another pause comes out. We'll have to wait this one out again, John, but looks like this time, again, it is IG that are having some connection issues. How long would you say that, you know, IG have to finish off this game before LGD gets a bit too uncontrollable?
You know, usually we've seen these Lycan strats work out until 30 minutes, if you really hold out, 35 minutes. If you get your items early on. If Lycan's pretty farmed by 20 minutes, you could probably hold out till 40 minutes at most. But even then, that's kind of iffy because right now Ame is pretty farmed up. He's working on to what looks to be, you know, his Yasha into a heart. And he should be able to farm that fairly quickly. You have the OD who's farming up quite well. Almost done with that Kaya Yasha, working on to BKB next. And then once that BKB's out, you're going to have a hard time holding Somnus down. He's going to be able to get a lot of Arcane Orb steals. He's just going to flick on Equilibrium when he's running low on mana and just burst all of you down, go back to full mana and deal some more damage.
Yeah. Well, they will scan out Armade, that bot, the bot jungle, but they actually rotate around, try to have a go. Well, mid lane, they are going to try to have a go at Somnus. The shackles are there from X-Nova now, and Ollie copping a lot of damage. The wards have been dropped as well from X-Nova, though the Fiend's Grip comes out. Arme joins the fight. They take down Ollie, and the only one left is pretty much the Leshrac Emo. He will end up falling in dogfights, trying his best, but he can't do much about this. Chalice joins in late. Doodle actually comes into this. I'm not sure about that, though the Astral was actually on the wrong target. I believe he did want to get the Lycan rather than Chalice, but it happens, John. We've all done it before.
Definitely, Mike.
LGD,
Definitely.
though, get themselves 3 very, very nice kills in that mid lane.
Very nice and very important kills. You're slowing down the Leshrac, who we've seen, if they can get a good timing in that Bloodstone, they just kind of snowball out in that mid game. But the timing's starting to feel a bit off now. It's going to take him a while to finish that up. And by the time it's done, it might be too late, as the BKBs would be flying out for, at very least, the OD. You'd probably get the BKB at the same time the Leshrac just picks up his Bloodstone. And I think in that case, a BKB Outworld Devourer up against a Leshrac with a Bloodstone, the OD will definitely win, and the Leshrac will lose charges straight off.
Mid lane, Nightmare is there on Chalice, but they're not really going to get much done with that. Top lane, Emo is there. It looks like they're trying to find Arme. Arme already in the tree line, though Emo is moving his way through it, so it looks like he's aware that there hasn't been a TP yet. Arme just holding on to that TP for the moment. Looks like he will eventually be able to run away. In fact, he might just jump on Emo, because the rest of his team are moving their way up. Emo, though, gets started with the Yules. Now, no Split Earth coming out. Now the Rolling Boulder as well from FY. It looks like they will end up getting Emo, though Dogfights does find the trade in Arme. Now the Rolling Boulder again. Chalice is there, though, with Somnus, and Dogfights will end up falling, so a 2-for-2 trade. They did end up getting Arme, which is a pretty nice kill, but at the same time, you already mentioned the fact that the Leshrac does require to kind of snowball, and he has slowed down quite a bit now.
He definitely has slowed down. I want to point out, X-Nova bought them a lot of time to rotate up top. He was keeping Doodle busy, just going through at least half of that lane, that bot lane, just running around. It was pretty entertaining. But he bought enough time for LGD to respond to the top lane without having to deal with the Lycan as well, and that got them a pivotal kill on that Leshrac, who, again, he wants the snowball, he has the Tusk, that's not the kind of snowball he needs.
Yeah. You did get to see how strong the Tusk is right now, though. Like, the fact that he pretty much took out Arme solo by himself throughout that engagement, it's kind of funny to watch how strong a position 4 Tusk can be in this patch. They will smoke up. IG going through to that top lane. The last Mega ganked up before they can get there, and in fact he will. Like, at the very least they know where they are now, but they just lost their Omni Knight, and in fact they're going to choose to do Roshan instead. LGD, though, surely they're aware of this. Everyone's missing off the map right now. I think they may be. Chalice gonna see Ollie around that Roche pit, won't think anything of it. No, they are actually going to get away with this Roshan, it seems. Nobody's going to actually move their way in. FY.
Is Roshan affected by tag?
Well, we're going to see OD gets gone on, and well, it looks like he's just going to end up losing his life. Somnus gone pretty darn quickly. Nice stun out from Chalice, though. Now FY rolls in as well. They'll take down the Aegis. They are going to move into Chalice again. They'll finally take him out. Guardian Angel comes out as well. It looks like they just want X-Nova in the back lines. Snowball there as well onto FY. FY will Rolling Boulder out of there, though. Emo, I'm not sure what the hell he's going for. It looks like he was trying to find Arme, but he did doppelganger up the hill. And your question was, does it affect the Roshan, that tag team?
Yeah, it looked like it melted fast. When I checked on dogfights before the fight, it was on cooldown, so... Because I was surprised. When I first checked Roche, he was full HP. Next time I check, it's really low, but they were attacking slowly. So I figured he must have used tag team in that interval. And if it does work, I mean, that's a lot of damage. From Lycan being buffed up, all his minions just dealing 100 damage more to Roche.
Yeah. That
is borderline broken. Even just 50 damage, level 2 tag team, that was pretty broken.
Yeah, it would be pretty silly if that was the case. Unfortunately, I didn't quite catch whether it was affecting Roshan, but maybe we'll get to see on the second Roche. Perhaps. Find out. So the game slows down a bit. The net worth's remaining fairly even. Like, it's 1k the way of IG now, thanks to that last engagement. But, I mean, that's pretty negligible at 21 minutes in. Arme, he is getting very close to that heart of Tarask now. It looks like he will go for the Reaver first. And in fact, he has just got enough gold to go buy it. With that, just the Vitality booster necessary now to finish off that heart of Tarask. While the rest of LGD, they will actually smoke up. We do see that Yasha and Kaya now up on the OD as well. So we'll see how much work Somnus can get done with this itemization. They will move their way into the enemy jungle. The problem is, though, absolutely nobody is there. They are actually hanging out at the bot rune right now. And Emo, meanwhile, he does end up picking up a Bloodstone as well while we were just speaking, and the Arcane Rune being bottled up by this Leshrac. So, next engagement, Emo probably going to be pumping out a hell of a lot of damage.
This is a really good timing for him, as OD did not manage to farm that BKB up at the same time, so he has an opening where he'll be able to pump out a lot of damage, and the OD is just going to have to take it this time, Mike.
For the moment, it just feels like both teams are kind of looking for each other. Mate, we'll just continue on that tier 2 top tower. The bot lane, though, is also going to be pushed in by IG. The Diabolic Edict is there as well. Are they going to be able to stop this Chalice? He is there, though. He does get stunned up. Now the Fiend Grip as well. FY trying to help the best he can, but he gets stunned thanks to that Snowball. And it looks like Chalice should end up dropping slowly but surely. And they will be able to steal the tier 2 tower thanks to that, though. The top lane, the wards have been dropped. So this tier 3 tower going to cop quite a bit of damage from those Serpent wards. Bot lane. Are they going to engage? There is a wolf form coming out. Somnus, he will Astral Imprison up. It does look like it was the Omni Knight. And, well, last, he will end up losing his own life. That'll be it. A very strange set of engagements. I suppose Emo, because he wasn't able to stay in that bot lane, LGD, they just took an easy kill on the Omni Knight. But that top tier 3 tower did cop a fair bit of damage.
It definitely did, and despite IG trying to push out that tier 2, they lose their own tier 2, so they're just trading evenly in terms of map control right now. And I think if you're gonna run a Lycan and you're just trading evenly on map control, I'd start to get slightly worried as you're approaching this timing now. We're about to approach 25 minutes in. Your Lycan is, you know, he's fairly farmed up, working on AC now, but, you know, you have Ame with a heart now. It's gonna be very hard to deal with him, although you do have ways to deal with it, like, say, Tag Team for Tusk. You have an OD who has his BKB now, Mike, and that's really going to hurt the Leshrac now, as he won't be able to burst down the OD anymore, who is going to be pumping a lot of damage out at this point in the game.
Yep.
So as time goes on, I feel like IG definitely needs to apply a bit more pressure. Maybe by the time the next rush rolls around, they have to really grab it and make sure they use it on their terms, because last time it was kind of expended in response to LGD jumping them.
Well, IG, they have smoked up again. They're in the enemy jungle looking for somebody to be able to pick off, though. LGD, they are just sticking together as 4. You still see FY just roaming around at that top lane. Mid tier 2 tower is being pushed in now by LGD. Be a nice shot to Chalice, but he is a very hard target to go for. Emo will get started with the stun, but he heals through all this damage. Chalice will just walk his way out with the Scorched Earth, and now they might reinitiate. Somnus, he's looking for a target. Again, that 10-second BKB ready to go. Really wants to make it a bit of a surprise. Arme moving in as well. There's the BKB coming up from Somnus. He'll get started. Now FY, he stuns up that Omni Knight, and it looks like he should just drop. In fact, it was Dog Bites on that Tusk that ends up going down. Now the Doom as well, going to be the target, although Emo copying way too much damage. And they get Somnus finally on that OD, but Ollie's lost his own life. Now FY, well, he's still man-fighting this Wolf. In fact, they get him with the punch, the Walrus punch that is. And Emo, did he just buy back, or was that the Bloodstone? Probably the Bloodstone. Oh, he did buy back. Well, he's about to die back. Emo, he ends up falling last. Can he survive throughout all this? He is healing himself up, although Dogfights will be the target. Chalice will get snowballed up. And Dogfights, I mean, this is a very prolonged team fight. Last is just so hard to kill. And meanwhile, Doodle, he ends up finding X-Nova. Dogfights still being chased down. The Lance is there, and he should fall. And he will eventually. I'm not even sure how that trade went, but I believe IG probably ended up losing out on that, especially considering they just had 2 diebacks. One on Emo, one on Dogfights.
Yeah, definitely not worthwhile for REG. They expend 2 buybacks. I think the biggest one was definitely the Lushrak buying back. I mean, dying back like that with your Bloodstone. It's down to 8 charges, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to sustain himself enough to regain those charges. He's going to need the BKB, and he's not that close to it yet, Mike.
No,
Whereas LGD, I'm pretty sure they're very happy with that BKB reveal from Somnus. And, you know, they've had a good run. They've managed to take that tier 2 now as well. And that's just 1 tier 2 left for IG, who really want to be pushing these objectives. But now they're playing on their own side of the map instead of sneaking into LGD anymore.
Yeah, this is that point in the game where LGD, they've gotten a bit too strong. Without those buybacks available, IG, they're going to have to let this tier 3 tower go. Perhaps even a Rax. But LGD probably going to play this pretty safely. They will end up backing off. The rest of the team wasn't really around to help out. So Arme and Chalice will just get a bit of value out of that tier 3 tower. Somnus, meanwhile, will push the tier 2 bot tower in. And again, another fairly easy tower to take. There's just no defense there from the side of IG. And it just feels like, John, that if the next team fight goes LGD's way, I mean, that could just be a Rax or 2 coming out from the Radiant end.
It shouldn't be too hard for LGD to push it out now at this point in the game. They do a lot of damage. All 3 heroes are kind of online for 27 minutes in. IG, in comparison, I mean, this is supposed to be when they're pushing tier 3s. This is around the time you want your Lightning to be knocking those tier 3s. You want the Leshrac there to mut that tower down. But it's just not happening. They've been really forced back by LGD. They can't go into their own jungle just yet. LGD is just farming up on their side of the map, just getting bigger and bigger. I think you're probably gonna need smoke from IG in an area where you're certain LGD doesn't have vision of you and you have vision on them. You're gonna need to jump someone alone.
Well, LGD looking to initiate again. They have found Ollie on that Bane now, and it looks like he will get melted though. Nice shards comes out, and the Shackle being cancelled off as well. FY actually misses the Boulder Smash, and now he does get Warriors punched up. Dogfights not going to be the target. It will indeed be Emo, but now the Guardian Angel comes out, and it looks like the side of IG are relatively safe for the moment. They will try and turn around with Doodle, and they are dealing a lot of damage to Somnus on that OD. Can he get out of there? It looks like he probably can't, and he won't. Meanwhile, Ollie's still alive. He will finally end up dropping a 1-for-1 trade, although LGD lose a lot more in losing that OD in comparison to the Bane that was lost on the side of IG.
Yeah, right now there's some issues for Somnus surviving. Despite having that plate mail and the BKB, it's still not enough to really counteract all the physical damage coming out.
Nice bait coming out from Chalice. Now, they may end up losing their Omni Knight. Though Snowball does come in. Chalice still really healthy throughout all this. Now, not so much. Though Arme moves his way back in, and that does force back Emo. It's another thing with those Dooms. Like, they're still very, very hard to kill. That Omni Knight is also extremely hard to kill, especially with that Heavenly Grace. That status resist just seems to be coming in clutch so many times this game.
It's really, really strong. Just you have to think about that status resist when you're jumping Omni Knight or someone with Heavenly Grace. And it's not something a lot of people are used to yet. You're not used to seeing your stun last for just, 2 seconds or so. It's definitely something that has to be adjusted. As this patch goes on, I think a lot of people will start to get used to that timing and change your prioritization. But right now it's a bit iffy, as nothing else really drops resist like that, except maybe when Tiny was first reworked and he had status resist like a madman.
It's like Somnus bot lane, just trying to get up that Shiva's guard right now. He is being surrounded though, IG. They have smoked up, and well, Ollie will end up finding him. Does have the Fiend's Grip as well available. There's the Enfeeble, so it's going to last a very, very long time. And nobody's there to help him out. This nightmare. My goodness. It's just, with that Enfeeble and with the Fiend's Grip, it just lasts so darn long. And that was only a level 2 Enfeeble. Now it's level 3, but had it been max, you probably would have seen an extra second or 2 on that Fiend's Grip on the OD, assuming he'd survive all that damage that was coming in.
Yeah, it's a really significant amount. And again, it's something you have to get used to. You have to understand that when you're being enfeebled, maybe it's the best time to pop your BKB just to dispel it. Although I don't think that would have saved Somnus anyway. but it's very scary now because Enfeeble does so much more in the late game, I feel.
Yeah. Yep, IG, they are going to try and go for this Roshan. We can check if the tag team works, assuming Dogfights uses it, but he hasn't quite yet. Dogfights. Well, they don't want to go in quite yet, because Arme's Illusions are scouting them out in that Roshan pit. And although the OD is down, I mean, he's only got a few seconds left to be back up. They don't really want to risk it. And they will end up backing off to safety for the moment. But it does seem like this game does heavily rely on who manages to get this secondary Aegis and Cheese. So both teams will stick around that Roshan pit for the moment, making sure the other can't take it. It's like Arme actually did go for the Orchid. He will be going straight into the Bloodthorn. Of course, that Heart of Taras did end up coming out earlier on. That Bloodthorn, I mean, Emo, he's going to have a hell of a bad time. Even last on that Omni Knight. There's going to be so much damage in that Silence. Will pay a lot of value. They will go for a smoke on the side of IG. Making their way through that mid lane. If they can find a pickoff, they can take the Roshan for basically free, or at least force out a buyback. Getting Somnus would be very nice. They will get started. Walrus Punch is there on Somnus. He does force stuff out there. The Astral was there as well. Now Chalice, he'll be the target. Can they burst him down fast enough though? It looks like they probably can. And Chalice will end up dropping now. Arme as well, copping a lot of damage from Emo's Pulse Nova. And well, they missed the stun. FY rolled in to try and help out. He's probably going to die here though. Somnus is there right clicking, but he's copping a lot of damage himself. Dogfight still in the middle of all this. Nice Sanity's Eclipse, and X-Nova finds himself a double kill. And in fact, IG are the ones losing this team fight. 4 down for the side of IG. It really did look all IG that team fight, but a couple little mistakes and they just could not finish off the heroes they needed to. And LGD, they just made their way back into the team fight and ended up winning it quite convincingly.
I think it came down to the fact that Somnus managed to dodge that initial stun from Emo. The fact that he just lived long enough to cast his spells was really the kicker there.
Snowball disappearing for a moment.
That was strange.
Yeah. Milirex was under siege. Emo is there defending, although he's copping a lot of damage just from those illusions. It looks like LGD think better of risking at those Milirex. They'll go for the Roshan instead. Why the hell not? Though they may not have enough time. IG, they're just going to push a few lanes out. I'm not sure if they're aware this is happening, but I suppose they probably should just take a random guess and say, yes, it is. Perhaps not feeling overly confident, though, to try and fight this, considering they are missing a couple buybacks on their heroes.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit risky as, again, no buybacks on some of their heroes. Their lanes were being pushed in, so it would have been a bit suspect if they just left their lanes to be pushed in like that.
IG now. They were making their way there, but it was just way too late. With that Bloodthorn that came out, just too much damage coming out from the PO, and now they will roll in IG. Can they win this team fight? They will go immediately onto that Doom Chalice, and Chalice, well, he's not dead quite yet. The Astral was there, though. Somnus, he will hit the cheese just in time. Chalice still trying to make a run for it, though. Somnus as well, copping a lot of damage. Arme, he comes in to try and help out. FY jumps in the middle of everyone with that Magnetize. Now the ward's dropped as well. The Guardian Angel, though, coming in, and nobody has died yet, believe it or not. Now one will in the Wolf. The Lycan has been lost. Somnus still in a slither of HP, but somehow alive. Dogfights, he didn't turn around fast enough to take him out, and the Astral will save him. And with that, they'll get a third in Emo. No buybacks on anybody, and they'll call GG.
Oh boy.
What a team fight. I mean, it just looked like IG should have had that so easily, but again, just those couple little mistakes, and well, LGD, they just pretty much take it. 35 minutes in. It was a pretty even game, John, but once we hit about that 20 to 25 minute mark, you just saw LGD taking over with the farm and the net worth. And after that, I mean, IG, they were just consistently on the back foot with this draft that they have.
I mean, LGD is the kind of team that if you give them an inch, they take a mile, and they took more than a mile here, Mike. They bounced back from what was probably a favorable start for IG, not the best start for Lycan, but definitely the right conditions for Lycan to snowball out of control. A lot of team fights which were really tight, which looked favored for IG, but every time Somnus just slipped out, he turns back in, deals a lot of damage. IG is just, yeah, they couldn't deal with Somnus at that point, along with how tanky Ame was when he came into the fights. So just a bit, they just screw up one or two team fights just slightly, and LGD just decides to take over.
Yeah. And on that note, John, we will have to get into the Game 2 lobby because I'm sure it's up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, should only be a few minutes wait, so please stick around with us. Hopefully you're all enjoying, and of course, thank you for joining us. That will be a 1-0 for the moment. We'll see how it goes in our second game. Won't be too long, guys.